If you want to get the top odds every time, bet with Top Sport's Same Game Multi. Top Sport. Feel the excitement.
Gamble responsibly.
Well, we are very excited here at the Same Game Multi podcast, not because it's getting closer to grand final, but because I can say it once again, the penultimate round of the year. So I've been waiting all year to say that. Very excited here. We've got some great games. Got the full crew joining us from kickoff, which is fantastic. But what we're going to do straight away, boys, we're going to bring in our main man up north, Tristan Merlihan, the CEO of Top Sport. Joins us right now to give us a bit of a market update for the two big games this weekend. G'day, Tristan. How are you?
G'day, boys. Exciting time of the year. We've only got 3 NRL games left for the season, obviously a big AFL game as well. And, it's that time of the year when you're excited for the footy on the weekend and also the big races as well.
Yeah, plenty happening, and it is exciting, although it is a bit disappointing knowing that there is only 3 games left of the season. So,
yeah, luckily we got the World Cup, but will that be the same? I don't think so, but at least we got something, I suppose.
Come around pretty fast, didn't it?
Yeah, very fast, yeah.
I remember back at about round 3 or 4.
Yeah, yep. Mate, let's jump into the games this weekend. We'll get a quick market update off you. And first up, we've got the Cowboys up against Parramatta there up in Queensland. How are the Parramatta boys going to fare up there in the heat?
Yeah, this game's been pretty solid since we opened. It's $1.70 the Cowboys, $2.18 Parramatta, and 2.5 is the line. So it opened at that price, and it hasn't really shifted. So I think probably the Cowboys at home with the week off, I can understand why the market's got them favourites. I feel that it's very much close to a 50-50 game, this one. So I think it's going to be an absolute beauty. I think both sides are playing really good football. So it'll be an intriguing contest on Friday night to see which side proceeds through to the grand final.
Mate, you'd probably have the whole state up there backing the Cowboys, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they're very excited, particularly after, I suppose, the year they had last year and the expectations for this year. It's a lot of very excited fans up here in Queensland to see. I think the Cowboys are most fans' second favourite team anyway. So I think it's a good time to see them in the prelim final, and if they can proceed through to the grand final.
Yeah, I know Birdo's only just been able to walk straight from the horn that he had last week and when the Parramatta Eels got up, so it'll be interesting to see if he's hobbling along this weekend as well.
Yeah, well, after last week's efforts, mate, I was walking around with a permanent limbo pole, but, mate, fingers crossed. But as you said, Tristan, about the Cowboys turnaround, I think, mate, I saw a stat today, they're third in all time for season turnarounds, and there was 15th to third. There's only 2 that are better than that. The Roosters in 2016-17, they turned it from 15th to 2nd. The Dogs in 2008-2009 season come from 16th to 2nd, so that's quite a good little turnaround.
Feeling all right, mate? You've done a bit of research for the show.
Hey, pulling the stats out, mate. trying to get
27 rounds.
Mate, we're winding down for the year. I'm just trying to get a start at Top Sport.
Fantastic. Let's jump into the last game, mate, quickly before you have to leave. Panthers up against South Sydney, obviously the grand final rematch. What are the punters thinking here? Going to be a replay of that or a bit of money for South?
Yeah, there has been a bit of money for the Bunnies plus a start. It's $1.36 Penrith, $3.20 South Sydney, 8.5. Now, we opened it at 8.5, and it's now plus 8.5 at 185, minus 8.5 at 195. So I think Penrith's been the best side all season. I think everyone would agree with that when they're fully fit, but I think this probably is, if a side's going to knock them off, I think South Sydney might be the team that are a chance with a bit of momentum their way.
I know you like Souths, Birdo.
Yeah, I think Souths are a red hot chance. We spoke about it off air, but time will tell, and fingers crossed. But Penrith have been good, and I tell you what, they haven't done much not to deserve to be in the grand final this year. They're pretty damn good side yet again.
Mm. Anything from you, Mr. Cherry?
No, I'm going to lean towards Panthers for that one. I just think they're just too consistent, and I think it'll come down to what's happened before is Cody Walker. I think he'll be the man that'll either turn it on and make the game, or if he doesn't turn up, then they'll be in big trouble.
Mm. Before we let you go, mate, give us a tip for each of the games. Who are you picking?
I'm going to go, I think the Friday night game is a toss of the coin, so as a result, I'm going to take Parramatta just because they're the $2.18 and plus 2.5. I think it could go either way in that game. And then I'm still saying Penrith's going to win, and I think it's going to be a very, very tight first half. But I think Penrith might just come over the top and cover the spread. I think they'll get them late. So I'm going to take Penrith minus and Parramatta plus.
Very good. That just reminded me. Yeah, I'm not even going to touch that about coming over the top and covering the spread, but we'll leave that for the moment.
Get yourself into trouble.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thanks, mate. We appreciate you joining us. And as always, get on over to Top Sport, download the app, use the code SGM Podcast when you do sign up. Some great odds and some great markets for all the footy this weekend and also the horse races. Thanks, Tristan. We'll chat again next week.
Thanks, guys. Speak to you then.
Buddy. Bye.
See you, mate.
Bye.
Yeah, I was going to reference something, but I thought I'd better not.
Yeah,
my tongue.
Might get yourself into trouble and lose us a sponsorship. But and it's always good, as you say, it's always good to get the little bit of insides there from Tristan. He's pretty sharp. And I tell you what, we asked him a couple of questions for the viewers and listeners before we got on air. Mate, I asked him a question. I can't think of what it was off the top of my head. Bang. Nature strip in the Everest, and within about... Oh, mate,
3.9 seconds it was.
He come up with the odds, so and compared that to one of the Voldemort companies. We won't speak their name, but and they were a better price too, so 10 cents better. So I threatened I'd clean him out, but
he'd be rubbing his hands together, licking his lips.
Yeah, and then he'll just ring J-Mac and get him to steer Nature Strip into a hollow, so and do my gold, but.
Boys, we're a bit short on time with Tristan, but what we might do quickly, usually we do our Top Sport, top that moment of the round with Tristan, but we might just touch on it now, boys. I'm going to kick us off. For me, it's Latrell Mitchell's goal kicking. It's been fantastic. I think he's like 12 from 12 in the final series and maybe 19 in a row or something like that, and he fucking hits them so sweet. It reminds me of like someone like a golfer hitting off like a 9-iron or an 8-iron or something like that, just the way it comes off the boot. Effortless. Fantastic. So that's my top that moment is his goal kicking for last week.
Mine's sort of top that at the moment. The ball speed that come off Dylan Brown's hands when it went to Gutherson was that fast. It was ruled a forward pass. That man can pass a ball.
Yeah. Back on the inside too.
That was the most bullshit call I've seen. But those boys, mate, they played sensational that game. They had an absolute cracker. And for me, top sport moment of the round was Parramatta.
Got a feeling that might be send-off as well.
Going to back up later on.
Well, actually, I'll kick it. I'll kick off the send-off at the same time. So get that music ready because we're going to hit it. But I'm going to go the All Blacks for finally being shit enough for us to get close to in the Bledisloe. At the same time, that's going to bounce into my send-off. But at the same time, for many years. I'd say this is where I'm sort of strung between, but I'm going to say finally the Wallabies are starting to show some improvement now. I know it's away from league and we sort of focus a little bit on league, but at the same time there was too many goods, so I'm just going to out that. And it's how good the Wallabies actually played against the All Blacks. Now I know the All Blacks aren't the All Blacks of old, but it was good to see we got close.
There's a bit of a controversial call with the ref or something.
Yeah, that's my send-off.
Oh, okay.
The old Frenchie.
They sort of haven't had that dominant power since like the George Gregan days.
Exactly right.
Really.
Yeah. And not necessarily, not only in the Bledisloe, but worldwide. Mate, it's funny. We get bashed by Argentina, get beaten by the Springbok, beat the Springbok, then beat Argentina in 4 games, and then we put that on against the All Blacks. It's funny, but. Send off?
Yeah, let's do our...
You are off. Don't talk to me. Just go.
Send off.
Yeah, rugby union in general, it is fucking shit. Oh, mate. So I was watching it. Mate, I was watching it. And, see, this is the funny thing. I used to play a fair bit of rugby.
Me too.
And was actually, to agree, was actually fairly good. Obviously not...
Oh, here we go.
No, not like representative standard and stuff like that. But I do remember I was bigger than a lot of kids at school, so I used to run clean through them. I was a little bit taller, a little bit wider. The thing is, I didn't get
longer.
No. That limbo pole I was talking about was be lucky to hold a stubby holder, but I used to love playing rugby, but I just can't watch it.
Yeah,
I just can't watch it. Oh, mate, I'll tell you what. The best thing about that was the haka, and then the rest of it. But at the same time, so basically, my send off is rugby. It is. I just can't watch it compared to league. But then that's funny. It depends on how you look at it too. As I said, if you prefer rugby, then you love watching rugby, and you probably don't like watching league. Vice versa. I like watching league, and I love league, but I just can't get into rugby.
Yeah, I don't mind the union. I used to always watch the Super 14s or the 15s now. But I used to watch them all the time. But
That's sort of fallen in the arse too.
It can get to that point where it just turns into that fullback kicking game.
Yeah.
And it's scrums and kicking, scrums and kicking.
Latrell Mitchell did that a couple of weeks ago. Who'd they play? There was the Chooks last week, the week before.
Kick and jewel.
Yeah, the Rabbitohs kicked off to the Chooks. The Chooks had their set, kicked it straight back down his throat. He just launched it back at him.
Yeah. That was
I
good.
thought,
Old school.
Yeah, well, anyway.
What about yourself, mate? Send off?
The send-off was that pass from Brown to Gutherson that got called a forward part. What a fucking load of shit. I was up having a couple of beers watching that game. Everything was fine and dandy until that. And I've seen that happen. It's just basic physics. When they're running at that speed, the balls started off behind him anyway. The momentum that they were running, the ball has to go forward. They'd be like you driving a car and throwing something out the car window. It's not going to land way back there.
Have you done a bit of that, have you?
It's going to come out. It's going to come out, and then it will travel forward.
How do you know?
You can't stop. I was really good at science, mate. Used to study physics. That was more send off. That definitely would have been a try, and should not have been a forward pass call. Another one they've got wrong.
For me, boys, it was the Sharks' performance. They've been so good all year, and for them to put on probably their worst performance all year in the biggest game that mattered, I think obviously I don't need to tell them, but they'd be ruining that and seething from that, I would imagine. They just had nothing in attack. I don't know how much that game the week before against the Cowboys, that 93 minutes took out of them. Or whether it was just that South were way too good. But they just didn't seem to have that punch and attack. But the biggest thing was their defence. Like, they've been the second or third best defensive team all year. And I think they missed something like 42 tackles or something like that. You can't expect to win a semi-final missing that many tackles. So,
like I mentioned to you before we started recording, Nico Hines in that first half, he was like a deer in headlights. He just seemed lost. Fitzy gave him a big spray after the game in the change sheds about the defence.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, really. You don't want him to be in there patting him on the back and stuff. He gave him sort of a wake-up call and said, that is not finals football.
Yep.
We need to do better next year.
Yeah, and that's nothing against their season. Like, they've gone great from what they were last year, and I think they'll be better for it next year. But yeah, just a bit disappointed, I suppose. And probably both the games, they're both sort of a bit one-sided. Canberra as well, so... Yeah, that's it for me.
Well, see, it's funny. I actually heard I was 100% behind Cronulla, and I had a multi which had Cronulla 1-12. I was actually fairly confident in them winning 1-12. Now that I see those, they go out in straight sets, which, mate, as a para fan, I've seen that happen. I've felt that happen numerous times over the last however many years, and it's not exactly the best feeling for a supporter. So I'd hate to see what it's like to be a player. But now some of the big name critics in our business and in our industry said, when you look at Cronulla, I can't even think of who it was, but someone picked it, that they will go out in straight sets. When you look at it, they've only played the big name sides, your Parramatta, your Roosters, Penrith. They've only played them once all season. They've played the Schmooks, they played the Tigers twice.
Had a fairly soft run.
The Dogs twice. So, whether that was the case, it's funny, if they had a won last week, then that shuts that all down. But because they lost straight sets, it sort of brings it up. But at the same time, I get a feeling they'll be all the more better for it.
Yeah, I think they'll be, even though they finished second this year, I think they'll be better. Yeah, like you said, better for it. They might not finish as high, but it's that big game finals experience that they're going to get. The combinations will be better, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I did see some stats. I don't know if this is exactly correct, but out of the top 6 sides, they only beat 2 sides for the whole year.
Is that right?
And then last year, we're talking about them. I remember talking about them last year. They dominate the bottom 8, struggle against the top 8. Whereas hopefully what you're saying is next year, they'll have that bit more experience and know that they can get up there.
Yeah.
Even though they did have a slightly easier draw. But, definitely next year they should be able to creep up around that top 6 spot again.
I think a real big loss for them, and you think it's only a winger, it won't mean too much, but was Sione Katoa. He got injured out for the season. That the carriage, the carries out of yardage, but also just his finishing as well. On the end.
He's a try game man.
Exactly.
Much.
So absolutely. I think that sort of probably affected them. A lot more than probably people maybe think or give them credit for.
Absolutely.
You think, he's just a winger, he doesn't do much, but they do.
Exactly. So, mate, if he takes that first run off a kick return, mate, and he makes, say, 8 metres or, say, 6 or 8 metres every hit, bends their defence and gets a quick play the ball. If he does that 2 or 3, maybe 4 times a game, that's almost as good as a try at the other end. Yeah. To get the momentum rolling, to get yourself past the forward, so then your forwards aren't tracking back that extra 20 metres. Because when your forwards are, particularly when you're playing in your hotter climates, like if you're playing in Brisbane, if you're playing in far north Queensland, etc., then that takes a massive toll on your forwards, that extra 20 metres. Because if they do that every kick return and your little men don't do that yardage game, that's when you see sides like Penrith, for example. If you look, you'll see like Fisher Harris and Moses Leota, they'll just wander themselves back because they know that their To'os and Taylor and Mays are going to get them past that advantage line so that they don't have to track back. Because if you do that, 8 or 10 times a game,
extra 100 metres.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Yes, and the replace them with like Connor Tracy and Lockie Miller, who just aren't big bodies.
No.
They don't have that power game like Katoa did. So I think that hurt them a lot more as well. All right, that's that done and dusted. Let's move into beer of the week. Thanks to the Whitebull Hotel. Headed on down there this afternoon, drove through, not get a drop of rain on me, which was fantastic. It was pissing down outside. Undercover drive-through service, so head on down there, get yourself some nice beverages for this weekend's football games. What have we got this week, lads?
Mate, I actually had a couple of beers with Hawkeye the last 2 evenings. Had a quick staff with him when we knocked off work. Went down and met him, and he said, well, at least we don't have to talk about the fucking football anymore as being a Raiders supporter. So I feel his pain. Mate, he set us up with a couple of lid blowers. And by that, I mean these things are strong. Cooper's Red Sparkling Ale. Now, these things are very, very potent, but for the strength, they're pretty smooth, which what makes them so dangerous. 1.7 standard drinks. They've got that nice sediment in the bottom too, so before you crack them, either just gently turn them upside down or give them a bit of a spin, bit of a spinneroonie or a roll around or whatever you want to do. Cooper's the only Aussie beer left, I think.
That is still Aussie owned,
yeah, it's Australian owned anyway. I remember years ago, I had a big night after work one night on these. I had them somewhere on tap and made a mess of myself. Got to work the next morning, and I think I was cutting steaks with a pair of tongs. That's how savage they are. But no, these are good. You just got to watch yourself just not to have too many too quick. But half a point coming from the Whitebull, half a point for the old twist top, not the pop topper, and another 3 points for being delicious and strong and Australian. So a nice 4.
So they're about 0.3 of a standard drink more than a standard beer. They're about 1.4.
Yeah,
so basically for every 3 you have, that's essentially an extra beer.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on the conditions, either too, if you've eaten or whatever else, mate, you actually hold on to your hat. I remember playing in the local darts comp down here, in my old boys' side, was Donaldo. Donny Donaldo, and my old man used to play him first in the singles because if you played him any later, he wouldn't get a game out of him. So, and he used to drink these like they were going out of fashion. But I think I'm gonna be brutally honest. I think this is the first time I've ever had them.
Yeah, right.
I've had they call them the traffic lights. So there's green, orange, and red, or whatever you want to call it, amber. First time I've had the red twist top, half a point. I'm going to give it a 3.5.
3.5. Not too bad. It was yours. 4. So 4.
Yeah, 4.
Very good. Head on down to the Whitebull, as I mentioned. Great undercover drive-through service. Friendly staff as well. Pretty good looking. That's for Fletch, not you, Hawkeye. But yeah, great meals down there as well. So head on down. If you are in the local Armidale area, support a great company that supports a great show. Anything else, lads? This segment, we'll come back, talk some footy.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back straight after this.
Having a bet on sport this week? Top this.
Whether you're into cricket and curling or golf and greyhounds, Top Sport will let you on for plenty. And with literally hundreds of markets from your own backyard to the international stage, Top Sport has you well covered. So if you want to get the top odds every time, bet with Top Sport.
Top that. Download the app today. Top Sport. Feel the excitement.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
All right, 2 big games of football this week, which will determine our grand final players, our grand final team, I should say, for next week. So cannot wait. Kicking us off on Friday night is the Cowboys up against the Eels up there at Country Bank Stadium in North Queensland. I think it's going to be about 30 degrees come kickoff time. This one is Friday, 7:50 p.m. Head-to-head, Cowboys, the local team, the favourites here, $1.70, Parramatta, $2.18 outsiders. The line is set at 2.5, $1.90 each way, and get the Cowboys at the minus or the Parramatta Eels at the plus. Should be a good game, boys. That heat Is it going to affect it? I know midway through the season, I think, or early in the season, they went up to Darwin, and it really took it out of the Eels. Is that going to be the same, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's always an issue, and it still beats me why Parramatta took the game against them. I think we spoke about it. Why don't they take someone like Canberra or Melbourne up there? Yeah. Get them well out of their comfort zone, and then then it's a even playing field, if not an advantage to you. But look, it depends. I listened to I can't think of who said it. I think it might have been Cooper Cronk, and they said basically if you go in with that right mentality, the heat's not going to worry you. If you're going to go in there sharp and that's one thing that you're going to focus on is the heat, you're beaten.
Well, I think they're only going to go up the day before, I believe.
Thursday, yeah. Tomorrow. Tomorrow out.
You kind of wonder whether you might be better off going up there a few days earlier to acclimatise.
Well, that was the other thing Cooper Cronk said.
There the day before.
Because Cooper Cronk actually said as well on another Voldemort show, we won't speak of its name, but he actually said an issue with that is he saw once before was the boys had a bit of a lazy day, a couple of lazy days, and they tried to acclimatise. One or two of the boys got that badly sunburnt that when it come to taking hit-ups and stuff like that, it just zapped them. Because they were like red like a lobster because of the conditions and whatever else.
Pinchy.
Yeah, pinchy. So they come off second best in that sense. So they got themselves a little bit sunburned and whatever else. But, it's one of those things. But if you're mentally sharp enough, mate, you'll go up there. But
and I'm getting dehydrated training up there too.
Exactly right. So, but
imagine Corey Horsburgh.
Mate, he'll come off his hair. He'll be clean shaven, but it looks like he's still got his hair on. He'll be that sunburnt. But boys, 42 times they've played each other. 42 times they've played each other. Cowboys are one up, 21-20 with one draw in there as well. So
interesting stat.
So very close over the history, but I couldn't imagine that they've played a preliminary final against each other. No, they did actually.
Did they?
Yeah.
2017 maybe?
2000.
No, not 17.
2005.
Okay.
Parramatta played, because it was Cronulla played the Tigers.
Yeah.
And Cowboys played Parramatta for a spot in the grand final. They beat us. Yep. They went through and then they lost to the Tigers in 05.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Your thoughts, Jess?
It comes back down to the old saying, what Parramatta sides are going to turn up. If Parramatta from last week turn up, I think the Cowboys are in a bit of strife. If that is the case, and if I could read into the future, I'd be taking Parramatta straight away. The only thing I have is if they have one of those sort of off weeks, the Cowboys don't do too much wrong. They do have that in them, that inside themselves to have that flashy play as well. So if Parramatta start off a little bit too slow, they're going to get capitalised quick, which they can't let happen. But from last week, mate, I'm pretty confident with Parramatta. But I think it's still going to be a close game. But I think Parra might get them. I think it might be one of those short margins, I think. And it'd be good to see it come right down to the end and make it a real sort of white-knuckle, nail-biter game. So I'm going to lean with Parramatta slightly, probably like a 1-6, I think.
How's this for a stat for you boys? So in 2005, it was the preliminary final. Parramatta minor premiers versus the fifth-placed North Queensland Cowboys. 29-0 to the Cowboys. So preliminary finals, if you want to wind back the clock, it's not looking real good for Parra.
Got the wood on them. I'm a bit the same as you, Ches. I think if Parramatta come out and play the game they did last week, as in that tempo and intensity, it's going to be very hard for the Cowboys who are coming off a week off. You don't know how that's going to affect them, all that kind of stuff, to match it with them. But yeah, the Cowboys don't do a lot wrong, like you said. So I'm really confused with this game as far as who to pick. My heart, I suppose, says Cowboys. I like the Cowboys to win. But my head's saying the Eels, just given their recent form last week. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I might have to go with Parra, which I don't like doing because they always fuck me up. But anyway.
Yeah, fuck you too,
I'll
then.
stick with you, mate.
Well, I'm very similar. My heart wants to say Parra. My head wants to say... It's funny, my heart's going to start overruling my head. I'm going to say Parra. Fingers crossed, Parra. The only issue I have is the way that Parramatta defeated the Raiders last week. And realistically, Chaz, as you said, there could have been 2 tries that could have been awarded. Mate, and if Xavier Savage, that palm on Clint Gutherson, how good was that? If you rewatch that, he palms Gutherson on the lead shoulder, which pushes his arm away from him, which means that he gets away from him. Beautiful. Whether that was meant to or not, but it was terrific by Xavier Savage.
And Gutho doesn't miss many.
No, exactly right. So realistically, mate, that could have been nil. And it could have been, if not nil, it could have been 50-4 or something like that. So the only problem is that the sort of mentality that it's going to give Parramatta the Conor McGregor confidence, where they'll just arms are swaying, doing the Vince McMahon walk into the, are they going to be overly confident? But I'd say BA has got the boys finally tuned. But as I said, my head's sort of going Cowboys as much as I don't want to say, but my heart's with Para, so I'm going to go Para.
Para, nice.
And out of this game, I don't really care who wins personally, but I want that side to win the grand final.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Now we're going to do it like we did last.
Is that because you hold a grudge?
No. It'd be good to see. Like I was saying before, it's Parramatta's chance. They're going to be a fair bit different next year.
Yep.
Whereas Cowboys will be a very similar side, so they can come back next year.
Yeah, well, they could be, as we said, they could be all the more better for it as well.
Yeah.
We're going to do the bets same as last week, so we're each going to do a multi for each of the game. We've got the Guru has chimed in with his as well, and we'll do a combined multi at the end to use up that extra money for the charity bet, boys. We'll kick it off in the same order. Berto, if you want to hit us with yours first for the Parramatta game.
Yeah. I've just gone out of my top sport. I'm in it now. Here we go, boys. I'm going to stay away. I don't want to put the mocker on anyone, so I'm just going to go try scorers for these, both of mine. Boys, first game, I've got Mike Acevo anytime, Maratulangi anytime try scorer, Valentine Holmes anytime try scorer, $11.47.
Yeah, I like that. 3 try scorers. I have gone the opposite two wingers. I've gone Kyle Felt, Wonga Blake, and I've gone over 21.5 first half points.
Yep.
So that over 21 in the first half totals for $6.85.
Gotcha.
I'll give you the Gurus before we pass on to yours, Ches. He's gone Sevo anytime, similar to you, Berto. Sean Lane anytime, and over 42.5 total points for $11.84. So he's cracked that $10 barrier, which is fantastic. A bit of value there.
Yeah, so me thinking it's going to be a close game, I didn't want to take a head-to-head or any lines. So I've gone a total of over 42.5, same as the Guru. Mick Acevo, he missed out last week. He didn't get any points, so he'll be due for at least one. So I've got him just for any time try scorer. And Nenai, now I missed out on him the previous week. I had him there. He usually scores, and all the balls kept going left. So I think they might use him a bit this week, hopefully. So those 3 legs there, $7.40.
That was the first time Sevo hasn't scored at Bankwest for a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, his record's not off the top of my head, but it's
17 games.
It's still something like 17 games straight. So he's 30. Oh, it could be something. It's something ridiculous. Say 32 from 31 games or something like that. So he's still in front. I know that.
Yeah.
But it's first time he hasn't in a while. So, but then again, the funny thing was he set 2 up. So he's that almost as good. So we give one to Murata Niokore, who unfortunately, due to injuries, had to find himself in the centres and picked up where he left off. Gee, he'll be good for the Warriors next year.
He nearly got a hat-trick, didn't he?
Yeah.
One got disallowed.
Yeah.
He ended up getting a double.
He got a double, yeah. So, mate, he'll be marvellous for the Warriors next year.
$1,000 to get a 3 or more.
Absolutely. Mate, if he...
Did he come off the bench too last week, didn't he? Or did he start?
No, it's funny because he's been... he did. He did come off the bench because Ryan Madison's been named at 13 but hasn't been starting at 13. So whether that's the old Queensland mind tricks, that they're trying to play there, they don't know who's going to start at 13 or what. But he actually come off the bench to score a double in the centres too. Come off the bench to play lock in the middle of the field but scored 2 in the centres. So, mate, as I said, he's unfortunately for Para, he's going next year. But I tell you what, he'll be a magical servant there at the Warriors.
All right, boys. The next game, grand final rematch, as we said, 7:50 p.m. on the Saturday out at Accor Stadium. They should get about 60 or 70,000 out there for this game. If they don't, there's something wrong. Penrith up against the South Sydney Rabbitohs should be a cracking game. Penrith are the favourites here, $1.36, $3.20 for South, which is fairly long odds. Good price for them if you do like them. The line is set at 8.5. You get Penrith at the minus for $1.95 or South at the plus for $1.85. Bit hard to know what's going to happen with that week off, similar to the Cowboys, and how they're going to come out from that and what kind of intensity the Rabbitohs are going to bring, whether they'll be able to, have they redlined for a few weeks now and they're not going to be able to bring that, or is it just going to continue on? What are your thoughts?
I think it could be tricky for them, particularly players like, and I know everyone came out and said Nathan Cleary might have a bit of rust when he came out in that Parramatta game. Didn't have any rust at all. But when you look at it, he's now only played 1 in 9 weeks or something similar to that. So, but at the same time, he should be fit. The Penrith, mate, they're all class. They're damn near good. But at the same time, this is 2 power sides. Are they going to play power football against each other? Are they going to try and shift the ball? But it's one of those sort of things. Why change tactics that have gotten you this far? So this one, mate, I'm just pumped for football all round this weekend. So even the women's games the finals are starting this weekend as well. So I think the pressure could be on Latrell in this, as much as I don't want to say it. But whether Latrell he'll thrive off that pressure. But I think all the weight in the world is going to be on his shoulders this weekend, because the problem is he's getting so much hype, which he loves, and he thrives off that. That's his engine room. But at the same time, do you play the power game against the power side? That's my sort of perspective, and that's the same with Parramatta too. You're going to play your power game through the middle of the Cowboys and risk burning out. The same with this. I don't know, and at the same time, this is almost a South home game when you look at it.
Yeah, true.
And
Yeah,
how many Penrith supporters are going to travel? Hopefully a fair few, because it'd be good to see ANZ or what is it now? A core stadium chock-a-block. So it holds 80,000, mate. If they can get 50, 60,000 there, mate, that'd be terrific. So because that'll be definitely packed the following week for the GF. But I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to go Penrith. I'm going to go. Fucking
Start again.
I'm going to stick to my. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to go the Rabbitohs. I'm going to go the Rabbitohs by 8.
Yeah, okay. 8.5's the line.
1 to 12. I'm going to go Rabbitohs 1 to 12.
Yeah, right.
I just got a feeling Penrith are too strong. I think it's going to come down, like I mentioned before about Cody Walker, but the Souths-Haas combination, if they can't shift the ball smoothly, find players to put them into gaps and stuff, they're just going to struggle. They're going to.
Speaking about putting players into gaps and Cody Walker, remember what happened last time these two played in the final series? Cody Walker threw that intercept, trying to put someone through the gap. Crichton, runs on and scores.
Playing on his mind, you reckon?
Yeah. Mate, how could it not?
And I've got a feeling, and my multi reflects this, that they won't be the usual try scorers in this game. I've got a weird, funny feeling there's going to be lots of tries from second rowers, bench players.
Through the middle.
Yeah. It's just going to be a little bit different this game, I think. It's just not going to be the usual suspect scoring. So, like, you won't get your Tyler hat tricks and stuff like that. It might be, second rowers and your 16, 17s getting over the line. And I reckon Panthers by about 14.
I think if South are a chance to beat Penrith, I think they're better off doing it this week. I know they can't next week, but I think, you know what I mean, that scarring from the grand final loss. If they were to meet next week in the grand final, I'd be backing Penrith just because of last year. But I think given that it's the week before, I think they're more of a chance to beat them this week than if they were to meet in the grand final. I know that they can't do it and it doesn't really make sense, but that's how I kind of see it. In saying that, I still think Penrith will win. I think that they're too good. They're so clinical, and Cleary, unless they can pressure Cleary like Queensland did, as far as his kick, that kick pressure.
Get him in the phone box.
Yes, seen him when he played 2 weeks ago. He was he could run 5 metres, 10 metres and kick the ball before anyone came near him. So they can't allow him to do that because he'll just control the game. He'll be putting up those big bombs. Talk about Alex Johnson injured, probably won't play. And I did hear yesterday that Josh Mansour is possibly going to be coming in for him. Jackson Paulo's not. Josh Mansour has been named on the extended bench.
Remember the last time Mansour?
He did his knee. Do you remember that? He tried to catch it and got buckled and did his knee.
Mate, the bloke hasn't slept since, I don't think.
So that's a worry. That's a worry for me. Yeah. So depending on what that lineup looks like, I honestly don't think AJ will play. The fact that he was taken off last week for 60 minutes or whatever it was, I can't see him playing this week, which obviously affects that left-hand edge, which is their most dangerous edge. I'll tell you who has been playing some good footy though is Campbell Graham.
Oh, mate, terrific.
But again, he's got a rib injury apparently. I don't know why they've come out and said that because he's going to be a target now, but he's playing through injury. Yep. He'll be needled up. I just feel as though Penrith are going to be fresher. As I said, South are kind of red line last few weeks to get through. There's all that sort of, like you said, Latrell and all that build up and all that kind of stuff. I can just see it coming crashing down a little bit this week, I think.
Yeah, one thing about Nathan Cleary too, I will highlight, is when you say that, put that kick pressure on him. Remember Queensland tried to put the kick pressure on him in the third Origin? It might have been the second Origin, sorry. They tried to put him in the phone box for the second Origin. And that's when he just got that little, instead of taking it to the line and then getting pumped, putting the ball up, see where he sort of jinked off the left and put that little grubber in behind Matt Burton, ran on and scored. So at the same time, he's still got that trick up his sleeve. So, mate,
fucking too good.
This bloke is just developing, mate. He's just picking up everything as he goes, and once again, mate, he'll be fresh and fit. Like a lot of the good critics have been saying, it's good that he's been suspended, not injured, because he's been able to do the contact sessions and that sort of stuff. So if he's going to take a bump, it's not going to affect him as much. So, but as I said, I'm going to stick with South, only because as a Para fan, if we get through, I'd rather be playing South than Penrith. But
that's fair.
And you got him to win the final.
And I do too. I got thank you, Tristan. I got South at 15. So regardless of who plays what plays, mate, I'm pumped.
Well, hit us with your multi, mate. We'll go in the same order and we'll go from there.
Righto. Ches, I'm going to bounce off what you said earlier. I don't think it's going to be those regular try scorers. Having said that, I have got Latrell Mitchell in anytime try scorer, and I've got Nathan Cleary anytime try scorer. Just two, Latrell and Nathan Cleary, $10.52.
It's pretty good for 2 legs.
Ain't that a fact?
And he does do that jink and get across the line 10 metres out.
I was going to say, get him in
that
close.
Kick pressure, bang, off the left, off the right. So
Show one to Fisher Harris or someone big boys where they've got to commit in numbers and bang, gaps are open.
He's good at cleaning up those scrappy balls in the in goal too. He's always chasing them as well. 100%. That's where he gets a feel of them.
I've gone Panthers -8.5 to cover the line. I think they'll do that fairly comfortably, as I mentioned. Over 41.5 points. I think it'll get to about the 55th, 60th minute. And I can just see them running away with it towards the end. I think it'll be tight up until then. I'll probably be a bit worried about the scoreline. But after that, I can see maybe 3, 4, 5 tries coming in quick succession. That's just how I think it's going to go.
Basically, the floodgates will open.
Yeah. And Isaac Tago, anytime try scorer, $5.92 on that one. I've gone a bit conservative this week, trying to get that win up for the charities. As for the Guru, he has gone Api Coruscant anytime and Stephen Crichton anytime for $13.26. So he's seen your 2-legger and raised it by about $3.
What you can do, I can do better.
Yeah, so 2 legs there, $13.26, Crichton and Coruscant.
All right, now backing up what I said, 2 anytime try scorers, Kikau and Big Kaloa Matangi.
Oh, Keon.
Back rowers.
Yes, and I've also got for the total points to be over 41.5, and I think a lot of those will be Panthers points around sort of the 30 to 36 mark. But I reckon South's have probably got a good dozen and a half in it as well.
Your age.
Someone must open their wallet. They've got moths going everywhere here.
Moth in the studio here. And then Clinton's acting like a fucking 4-year-old kid trying to swat at it.
I'm acting like an 80-year-old with my reflexes.
Yeah. Fucking can't get it. Yeah, so those who are listening, make sure you're watching so you can see that.
Yeah, so Kikau, Kaloa Matangi, over 41.5 points, 21.69.
Oh, geez, that's not bad.
Like it. What we're going to do, we're each going to do a combined leg. So I need your Top Sport app open, Birdo, and we're going to each give you our legs, and we're going to add it up live on TV.
Here we go.
It's pre-recorded, and not really TV, but anyway, not to worry. You put yours in, and I'll give you mine and the Guru's, and then Mr. Cherry can give you his. Right,
I'm going to bounce off what I said in that last one, and I'm going to go Latrell Mitchell anytime try scorer. I think, mate, that bloke is going to be humming.
While you're on that same game, the Guru has gone under 42.5 points, I think it is, or 41.5 points, whatever the unders are.
Latrell anytime. The points are going to be, what did you want?
Under
41.5.
Yeah, under 41.5. Is yours in that game, or is yours in the Parramatta Cowboys game?
Mine's in that game.
All right, you put yours on because mine's in the other game.
Bouncing off, I'm going to use one of my legs like I do. I call it the leg extension. We always need one of them. Kaloa Matangi, anytime try scorer. He was paying, I think it was about $5.50, $5.60 when I looked at that too.
$5.30.
So he's come down a couple of cents. So
that's probably because you've just had fucking
had a squillion on him. Mine's in the other game, the Parramatta Cowboys game, and I'm going to go Val Holmes, anytime try scorer. I think he is having a cracking season for the Cowboys, playing his best probably season even before he left the NFL when he was at the Sharkies. I think he's playing better in that centre position now.
Mm-hmm. And his origin performance was outstanding.
Yeah. What have we got for those legs?
Oh, daddy. Latrell Mitchell anytime try scorer. The points in the Rabbitohs Panthers game to be under 41.5. Keon Kaloa Matangi anytime try scorer, $5.30. Valentine Holmes, anytime try scorer, $2.94. Combine that bad Sally, $142.90. Hey, have a couple of bob on that, would you?
I think Kaloa Matangi probably bumped that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get that off. That'll be fantastic. Great money for our charities. So we'll be having about $30 on that. So what's that, Mr. Mathman? $3,000?
About 3,100, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It'd be fantastic to round out the year. We're just about wrapped up here for this penultimate
Holy dooly
podcast.
I just put it in there. So potential winnings, prices are subject to change. 4,200.
Nice. Love it. How good. Fantastic. That'd be great.
Monster.
Yeah.
Poor Tristo.
I might have to start my own charity.
Anything else, lads, before we do sign off?
Let's go. I'm pumped.
Enjoy the public holiday tomorrow. Rest up.
On the Thursday.
It's going to be nice.
Plenty of time to listen and watch the show on the Thursday. We'll have it out nice and early in the morning. I don't know why I'm saying that because it'll be past that time by the time I get it out. But anyway, not to worry.
Are you talking about this or what are you talking about?
Yeah, rub one out. All right. We forgot to do our tippers again, but we'll do that next week when we actually find out who's going to win our competition. So the prize money's coming your way.
Pressure's on.
For those 4 people up the top. So there's a bit of competition there for the leaderboard, I think. So
pressure's on. I'll just get it up quickly now. Brighton 75, 162 points. The Irk, 160. Tony T, 159. Krabby, 61, is on 157. So I tell you what, the pressure's on there.
Yeah, you wouldn't be wanting to miss both games if you're Brighton and Irk gets both and they're level going to the grand finals.
I'm not sure who Brighton is.
No, me neither. I'm not too sure.
I know the Irk is Justin Urquhart.
Yep.
He's a good family, the Urquharts. I coached with their son for many years at soccer. Tony Toms. Ex-Retrovision, when it used to be around, is in third, and Krabby 61. Not too sure about that either. So
yeah, I know.
I tell you one thing, boys, none of them are me.
Nah, that's exactly right.
None of them have got the Joker left, do they? They've already used the Jokers.
No, everyone's used their Jokers except for those. There's a couple down the bottom, but we won't worry about them.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Let's do it.
If you do watch the footy, please enjoy it. I'm sure there'll be a cracking games this weekend. If you do have a punt, please do that responsibly as always. And don't eat your soup with a fork. I tried it yesterday because I'm a bit crook. Did not work at all. So very hard.
Just drink it.
Soup fucking everywhere. We'll catch you next week, hopefully. See ya.